You're just moments away from a brand new episode of WTF Nations Radio's Pop Culture Warrior, hosted by the dynamic duo CQ and Radar. Pop Culture Warrior is your number one source for all things entertainment. If it's happening in TV, movies, video games, or comedy, they're all over it. And don't forget to say hi in the comments below. And while you're at it, let the boys know what you think and what you'd like to hear them talk about. Now strap in and get comfortable, because you're in for one hell of a ride. This is Pop Culture Warrior. Shots.
Broadcasting live from the basement of a Pentagon. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Welcome, one and all. Today is Tuesday, November the 9th, 2021. This is episode 79 of Pop Culture Warrior, the show where I stay up to date on all the ins and outs of what's happening in pop culture, so you don't have to. I'm CQ. I'm the Pop Culture Warrior, and with me, as always, is the Claire to my Chris Redfield, the man in the bubble, ladies and gentlemen, the voice of the unpop cultured, Mr. Radar.
Hey, everybody, what's up?
There he is. There he is.
There I be.
There I be. All right. Oh, it's Tuesday. So many things have happened since last Tuesday. So many things. We must talk all about it. But first, we say hi to you for watching. So thank you for watching. We got Steven. I see you, bud. Bob. Who else? Captain Wayne Baconator in the house. Heath. Rob. Rob? Yeah, Rob. What's going on? How you guys doing? How's everybody doing out there? A lot of good going on. Ray, I see you. Who else we got? We got a bunch of people in there today. I love it. Thank you guys for checking us out. Thank you guys for hanging out. Like I said, super great show today. We got a surprise guest. I've been kind of dropping hints over the last couple weeks. But honestly, it was, if I'm being honest, it was up in the air. This is a very busy guy, lot going on. Big movie coming out in like 2 weeks. Season 2 of his show coming out. Another sequel in the works, and busy dude. And he was able to make it work tonight. So live right here in just under an hour, we are going to have Robbie Amell joining us on the show. Super excited. Gonna be awesome, man. We're gonna talk Resident Evil. We're gonna talk Upload. We're gonna talk Code 8. What other stuff he's got going on. Like, it's gonna be awesome. Awesome conversation. This dude's been everywhere. He's been on The Flash. He's been in a bunch of things. So yes, very excited to talk with him tonight. So that will be awesome. And just one more a thank you. If you joined us last week, we've got a sponsor for the show. We got a sponsor. We got Animation Legends. You'll see their little logo here in the corner. Fantastic organization. They sell the animation cells from our favorite cartoons growing up. We had such an awesome conversation last week about everybody's favorite cartoons, from Transformers to G.I. Joe to Care Bears and Simpsons and all those legendary classic cartoons that were hand drawn. And these guys sell the animation cells that they used on the cartoon series. So check them out when you get a chance. Use the promo code PCW10 and you get 10% off whatever you purchase. So that's just
10% off. That's like you only pay like 80% then.
that is Marine math. That is good Marine math right there. And they run a bunch of other specials too. I think like there's free shipping over a certain amount and whatnot. But awesome organization, man. We had the VP on last week, and such a cool dude, and really reminiscing about all of our favorite cartoons out there.
Guys, we spent like half an hour just talking about all the cool shit that we used to do.
Right? How cool things used to be. Hey, Floridian, what's up, buddy? They sell cells. Yeah. Can I say that 10 times fast? They sell cells. 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 Those yeah. There you go. Thanks for joining in tonight, man. So what else? Okay, so like I said, a lot has happened over the last week. I think the first thing I'll touch on is where I was last night. If you follow any of our social medias, whether it's Pop Culture Warrior on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, not so much on the TikTok, but we're getting there. Last night I got to do something super fucking cool, right? I got invited. The Bob Woodruff Foundation. It's an amazing military charity. They raise funds and then they distribute them to other. I mean, obviously they have their own pursuits as a nonprofit for veterans. They do like feeding veteran homelessness and in vitro fertilization stuff for wounded veterans and veterans in need and things like that. And then they also provide grants for smaller organizations to help them do amazing things for veterans as well. Awesome organization. Last night in New York City, they had their big 15th annual Stand Up for Heroes benefit event. It was incredible. We had front row seats. When I mean like front row, I'm talking like from here to there. Like that was the stage. Like I looked up and they're right in front of me, right in my head. And it was awesome. It was hosted by Jon Stewart. I mean, come on, who doesn't love Jon Stewart? There were appearances by Nate Bargatze, I love, he's such a good comedian. Oh my God, so good. But there was Nikki Glazer, Jim Gaffigan, Darnell Rawlings, who else? There's a couple of others. And then to close out the show, freaking Bruce Springsteen just belting out some songs, man. Did like 5 or 6 songs. It was incredible. It was such a good show. Such a good show. I literally got home not too long ago, so I'm gonna be posting up pictures of the event probably later tonight or tomorrow, so you can see the pictures. But I had a chance to spend some time in the meet and greet green room and talk with a lot of the folks, and I won't I won't promise anything, but
Jon Stewart's gonna be on our show.
There were some good conversations had. There were some promising networking being done, and we'll see what comes of it. I never like to promise anything and then underdeliver. So we'll see what comes up of anything.
I did that, but ask my wife. So I need to ask.
All fluff, no stuff.
When's Jon Stewart going to be on?
He's a busy guy. I'll say that.
Of course he is.
He's a very busy guy. He does so much.
He loves veterans.
He does. He told a bunch of stories, man. He was talking a bunch of stories about stuff he's done with vets and crazy stuff from Kabul and when he was in Iraq and when he was in Afghanistan, all these different things. So it was really cool.
He's done a lot. And the cool thing about Jon Stewart doing, and honestly, as of late, a lot of people that's really impressed me about it is he doesn't go out and say, "Look what I did."
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, he just does.
He just does it. He doesn't ask for a bunch of, Gary Sinise is the same way. He does a ton of stuff, but doesn't ask for like the recognition for it. He doesn't like go there with cameras, be like, "Look at all the cool shit we're doing." Nope, he just goes and does it. Same with Robin Williams is the same way. So those guys are awesome, and that makes me very much respect that kind of work. It's not self-fulfilling for them. They do it because they give a shit. When he goes, he's done a lot for the 9/11 victims and stuff, and so yeah, a dude like that, to have him on, even if we get him for like a little bit, would be fucking sweet.
Yeah. And funny you should bring up Robin Williams. I was talking to some of the people there, and at the first annual, it was actually not too long before Robin Williams passing, and he was at the event. He was one of the performers and one of the people, and they said like he was the guy that after the show immediately like jumped off the stage, and like because the front row is all veterans from different organizations and whatnot, representing different organizations, and he spent like almost the whole night, the rest of the night after the show, just taking pictures and talking with them and hanging out with them, and like he was such a great dude, and a lot of the other talent kind of took his lead and followed suit, and then that's kind of what started the whole spending time with the talent and the veterans. So it's pretty cool. I will say the most, because obviously I love a lot of those comedians that performed. They're great and had us laughing so hard. The surprising part of last night was how funny Bruce Springsteen is. He was telling some rather raunchy jokes with us, and there's a joke, like he was telling one joke about this guy that works at like a sex shop and was how he's selling dildos. I'm not gonna butcher the joke or the punchline, but there's another one about a voodoo penis. That was a whole one, and then
call him right now and get him on this show. I want to hear these stories.
They were good, man. I would butcher them trying to tell the jokes, but he was funny.
Here's the thing with that, and this is I'm going to say this because I'm exceptionally jelly right now of you and being able to do these things, but
so.
It'd be so cool even if we could get him for a little bit to just come on and bullshit. You know what I mean? That'd be so fun. And just you tell him, hey, we're super chill. Radar's not even here. You know what I mean? Like,
because that's what's holding people back is that you're around.
That's probably what it is. Because I'm sure there are people listen to this show, and they're like, CQ, he's all right. He does his research. He's funny. This other guy, he's just he's basically an ape with a microphone.
Yeah.
And we don't even really want him anywhere near our talent. So don't worry, Radar's not around for these things. He just monitors the chats and makes sure there's no dumpster fires.
Yeah.
That you put out. That's my job. I'm the dumpster. I'm the fireman.
The fireman.
CQ is the intelligence. I'm the janitor.
Oh man, you sell yourself short, sir. I'm sure everyone.
I'm only 5'8", so I'm not exceptionally tall.
I'm sure everyone in the chats would say that you're selling yourself quite short. I see a bunch of comments rolling in, so let's see. Get Samantha Fish. Who's Samantha Fish?
She's a songwriter. She's actually really talented. I've followed her for a while on Facebook. I'm a big fan.
Okay.
There's a couple there's some people, maybe we'll talk offline about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Some musical guests we might be able to
add it to the list. Radar secretary, add it to the list. We're reaching out to Samantha Fish. We're gonna get it. Maybe not for this show, but we'll get her for WTF Nation. Yeah.
Because it's a little short notice to do it tonight.
Yeah.
But
It's a little short. Heath wants to know, did I shave my legs for my No, I did not shave my legs. I did like, I've been growing out the beard, obviously, and I've been going like full caveman, and I realized I was like, oh, I should look nice for this. Like this, like it was like it's a cocktail formal whatever event. So I at least shaved the neck and put on a little blazer.
That sounds unadventurous.
I wanted to look semi, because you never know who you meet and talk to, and you want to look presentable. So, look a little bit professional, but whatever. See, even Pookie's saying, why are you talking about me like that, Radar? Oh, that's got jokes. They got jokes.
See, Pookie's awesome. Pookie's amazing. I, on the other hand, am far from.
Far from. Okay, so that was last night. But going back a couple days ago, on Thursday night, I went to see Eternals, the latest Marvel movie. And I think we discussed this previously. You have not yet been able to see it.
Well, here's the problem. I live in the middle of effing nowhere, right? And
not the big celestial head from Guardians of the Galaxy, right?
No, I mean they probably had more showings of the movie than my theater did.
Yeah.
There was one showing per day, and the theater's at reduced capacity because of Rona. And by the time I had got on the internet to find a ticket for it, it was already sold out, all 3 showings. So I did not get to, because they're only open Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I missed all 3 showings. So that's my fault. I had every intention of seeing it. I did kind of maybe spoiled it for myself a little bit. I did kind of get on YouTube and see some reviews of it and stuff to kind of, so I could have some talking points about it tonight. But I did not actually get a chance to see the movie.
Hey, Mike, welcome to the show, and there you go. So Mike's glowing. He says, I liked Eternals, reviews be damned, it was a great movie. Now, okay, so my thoughts, and now these are my non-spoilery thoughts, so nobody panic, no spoilers. It was a good movie. It was a good movie. Wasn't great. I wouldn't put it in that top tier great Marvel movies, but again, I can't really think of any of the first outing movies that are in that top tier. Maybe Doctor Strange is kind of close to that top tier as far as like his first appearance, first outing as a movie, and it'd be that good. Black Panther was pretty up there. But it was good. It was a good above average movie, which is a solid place to be. It was a long movie. It's a very long movie. I want to say the credits or the not the credits, the commercials, advertisements, the previews. Jesus, I couldn't think of previews.
Yes,
the previews started at 6 p.m. my time. By the time the movie was over, which of course you got to stay for the end credits, got to stay for the very last end credits. Super hype. We'll get to that. And then walking to my car, which was right, like literally right around the corner. I think I got to my car like 9:20.
Wow.
So you're talking 3 hours and 20 minutes counting credits, post credits, etc. It's a very long movie. So my thoughts about the movie itself was, I liked it. It's a lot. Because it's a long movie, it's a lot. It's a lot. The issue with, creating a world, because you're basically creating a new world, right? This is Marvel, so everything falls in. You get your obligatory references towards Captain America and Iron Man and Thanos and all that, the snap. But they are creating a whole new world with this, right? We didn't know the Eternals, we didn't know the Celestials, we didn't know the a whole new world. And so there's a lot of exposition, a lot of, in the dawn of time and before this, and they came from here, and this is their mission, and there's like so much to give you. And then kind of untangling the web of what's happening and why and what's behind it. And like, again, that's all, I'll leave that for the movie to, if you haven't seen it, to what's going on and why. There isn't a true villain, so to speak, in this movie, which is interesting. It's an interesting concept that, you know, if you've seen the trailers, if you've seen the commercials, right, the deviants are kind of, you know, what's driving them back into action, but it goes so much deeper than that, right? Why are they here? Why are they active? What's it all leading to? What's behind it? All this stuff. So, and there, I mean, there's just so much. There's so much. The interplay between the characters and how they interact with each other, and you know, some romantic entanglements here and there, and kind of what's their motivation, what's their drive. So there's a lot to unpack in this movie. Couple really, really bright spots. Couple, like, was that really necessary? They had the first ever in 12 years of Marvel movies, whatever we're at, 30, 40 movies at this point, first ever sex scene in a Marvel movie. Of all the places to have it, I have no problem there being a sex scene in a Marvel movie. It just felt kind of out of place.
Okay.
And I mean that by, like, the characters were clearly in love. And the characters clearly got together.
Mm-hmm.
But it just seemed kind of gratuitous. Not the scene itself, but just, like, it didn't seem like it was necessary, right? Like, a sex scene didn't seem necessary to further the plot, or like, because like they really paved the ground that these two characters are in love before it, and after it, like, you see them like get married and all the tropes and stuff. So it just didn't feel like that sex scene was necessary. Like, if you're gonna do a sex scene, I don't know. It just seemed like it wasn't necessary to this story. Not saying that, you know, Marvel movies don't ever need sex scenes. It just didn't feel like it was necessary for this story. That being said, everything felt the way it should be. The story, again, avoiding spoilers. The story wraps itself up relatively neatly, right? Puts a nice little bow on it. I don't think there'll be a direct sequel to Eternals. I don't think there's going to be an Eternals 2. I think it's laying seeds to kind of go into different directions. I will say vaguely. But this movie suffered from one thing, and that is it left a lot of questions unanswered. So the story itself kind of wrapped up, but like, it's like, oh my God, so what does this thing mean? And okay, what are these people going to do now? And what about that situation? And it's just like, you know, which I mean, it's the Marvel Universe. They're saying like, hey, stay tuned, you'll see. You know what I mean? But like, it's just like, I just watched 3 hours of this, and why am I more frustrated than when I started? And this is something we've talked about in the past with every Marvel movie, Shang-Chi included. Now everything is like, okay, the world is ending. Where the fuck is everybody? Like, where are the Avengers? Where, like, this seems like this isn't, it's different if they're like, hey, on this street in, I don't know, let's just say Scotland, there's a guy fighting and we all have to jump in and kick his ass. Like, all right, it makes sense that the Avengers aren't going to show up for that. But like, we're talking global level extinction event and nobody could be bothered. Just everybody was like, well, it is what it is. And there are other things towards the end of the movie that happen that like are a global event. And something like, it's not like, oh, they didn't watch the news so they missed it. Like, this is, things happened that everyone on the planet is now aware of simultaneously. And it's like, somebody should have been like, I should see what's going on.
Yeah, but maybe, I mean, look who do you got? You're gonna have Bucky show up with a machine gun? You know what I mean? Like,
sure. I mean, Doctor Strange at the very least should be portaling around.
He busy. Doctor Strange is busy now. And then Steve Rogers is old, right?
Yeah.
We were not gonna talk about Black Panther, right?
That's sad.
Just saying. But I mean, like, honestly, who you got?
Yeah.
Who you got? You know, Iron Man dead. Spoiler alert.
Spiderman should have showed up, man. She'd be like,
Yeah, 'cause
thwip, thwip. I
Yeah, but he
thwipped here
visit-
from
He
America.
visiting that, but basically, all you got is like, fucking, you got Hawkeye, dude. That's it. And what's he gonna do with his fucking bow? Be all fucking boring and shit.
I mean, okay, so maybe Shield's not much of a thing anymore, but we saw in WandaVision that sword. Sword's a thing. They deal extra dimensional. What was it that they said? They deal with otherworldly, sentient, blah blah blah. They should have been fucking on the scene. Maybe
they're like, nah, these other dudes.
Well, then again, we don't know what the
They're
state.
making this.
We don't know the status of them post WandaVision. Really, like we don't know what happened to those guys post WandaVision. But like you saw, some shit went down in New Jersey. They were there the next day. Fucking whole
but that's
base
like-
camp.
That's like right there, though.
That was down the
They're
street from them.
Yeah, they're basically in New York all the time.
Hey, Corey. Hey, Matthew, man. Thanks for joining in, guys. Appreciate you checking us out. Anthony asked,
Yeah,
is it
Greg,
better than
you can't
Thor?
have every character in every movie.
That's
That's
true.
right, Greg.
I mean, it's true. Anthony said, is it better than Thor Dark World? Absolutely. Unequivocally. It is without doubt better. Pookie said, was it Lord of the Rings extended edition long? Maybe not that long, but it sure as hell felt like it. Jim says, I don't think I have ever seen a sex scene and thought, nope, you want to see them all. All right, fair enough. I mean, it just didn't feel like it was necessary for. It just didn't seem necessary. That's all. I just think that's all. What does Mike say? Discuss later spoilers, or if we're not doing spoilers, I'll do spoilers in a second. I'm curious because, like, Mike, I know you have kids, and he has two little girls, little kids. I'm curious as a parent who I'm assuming took his little girls to their. How awkward was that sex scene? When the one superhero loves the other superhero, he gets on top of her and kind of gently sways back and forth.
I'm gonna show you my Ant-Man girl. So
Yeah.
what do you think of this? What do you think of Greg's comment? He found it more of a filler movie to set up the new direction. He enjoyed Shang-Chi way more from just a fun movie perspective.
You know what? I think that is a phenomenal comment. I do feel like this movie was like, okay, we're opening up a new chapter. We're opening up a new venue. And we're just setting the stage for other stuff that's coming. It's a no knock on the movie. It reminds me very much of like Iron Man 2, where like things happened, right? There were fights, there was action, there was story, but you could feel throughout that movie this was setting up other things. And
Now,
that's what it felt like.
Question.
To me.
If this would have been Iron Man 1, the first Iron Man, the kind of the beginning of the MCU, would you have went back for the second movie?
I mean,
If this is the very beginning of it, if this was Genesis, would you continue? Would you think it would have taken off the way that the MCU has taken off?
I think so. I mean, again, by itself, it's a good movie.
Okay.
When you open up and expand your mind at all the possibilities of where it could go, then like, oh shit, like it's whoa, it is mind blowing.
Okay, but take yourself back to when Iron Man first came out, right?
Right.
We didn't know all of the directions this could go.
Right.
Like even people who were big fans of the comics had years of like crap superhero movies being forced down their throats. So you didn't know really. They didn't.
It's hard.
We know.
I get what you're
going.
Now,
We know now that there's so much other stuff going on in the MCU, and this is just a small part of the whole universe, right? Of the multiverse.
Yep.
Okay. But so that I think that's kind of where as Radar, as normal person.
Let me tell you exactly what. So yeah, I get where you're coming from, but it's hard to compare the two because this in and of itself is a team up movie. It's not a single guy's story, so it's hard to compare the two. Now, I put this in the playing field of like Guardians of the Galaxy one. where it was creating a whole new platform, right? Now we're in space. We hadn't been in space before, outside of like Thor. But this is like a space opera, and it's a team of characters, and with potential moving. Like it wraps up its own story, self-contained story, but that definitely leads towards future adventures. That it's very much on the par with that. Very much on the par with that. Maybe a little less. I think this one was a little more dramatic. Then Guardians was supposed to be fun and silly and over the top. This was a little more drama heavy, a little more emotions and history and things like that. But I definitely like where they're leading the seeds. Now, for those that don't want to be spoiled, there's your spoiler alert. I'll give you a second. You can mute when I remove the spoiler alert. You can unmute if you want to avoid any spoilers. Okay, give it a second. So, at the end of the movie, we find out that the whole point was that this celestial was going to be born in the center of the Earth, which would essentially destroy Earth and yada yada yada, and celestial would be born. One of the things that lingers to me is that like they have this celestial kind of poking out of the water, and he's kind of like now just dead, but it's like there's a whole new fucking continent that basically just got created, like because of this guy that's like poking his head out with his fingers out. Which I'm like, what do you do with that? Like as a planet, like whatever island is closest to, like, well, I guess that's ours. Like we keep that. Like is that like there's just so many questions about what the fuck is that like? How does that impact everything? And also, if he was emerging from the center of the Earth, regardless of if he like actually came out, like the fucking Earth should be fucked at that point, right? Like I mean, because he's coming out. If he's poking out of the ocean, that means like his feet are still in the center of the Earth, and like that should be like it's cracked like an egg. I don't know. I don't know how that. They don't really explain how the Earth is still fine after this guy just like peekaboo out of the ocean. Anyway,
wait. So
yeah.
Hold on a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't so Ego planted an egg on this, and then he died.
Yes.
So it's kind of a rehash of that.
Not in. I mean, kind of in a way, yes.
Because Ego's a celestial, right?
Yes, that was at that point they were saying he is one of like the old Celestials, but he's definitely not celestial the way that these guys were kind of doing celestial. So kind of, sort of, maybe partly celestial.
So maybe they kind of fucked up saying like it's the whole.
Yeah,
maybe they should.
I think they're gonna retcon it into saying like Ego was like almost like a baby version of a celestial, kind of, or I hate to be crass, but maybe he was like a celestial with, I don't know, special needs or something. Like he wasn't a fully formed celestial. He's just like,
because he was just a brain.
Yeah, he's basically
a
brain around and a planet that built around it. Yeah, it's a consciousness that developed its own ecosystem. But anyway, I digress. So in one post-credit scene,
it sounded like a rehash.
It's very similar if you think about it. So in one post-credit scene, we get that half the team decides to stay on Earth, half the team flies away. So first thing that happens is the team that stayed on Earth, fucking Amamishu or whatever the fuck, Arnamesh, the celestial that was controlling these guys, shows up. Which again, global event, giant head in the sky. How the world continues on after that point, like even knowing that the world's been snapped and unsnapped, like still I think people would fucking lose their shit if giant purple head shows up in the sky and it's just like, you three come here and I'm gonna judge you, and then like fucking black hole teleports out of there. That's one thing. We then meet Thanos' brother, Eros, also known as Star Fox. That is a whole mess in and of itself, because that complicates things beyond measure. Like, I mean, it's ripped straight from the comics, which is what it was surprising, because now, like, the fact that he looks human, like, there's so many factors of going, well, now everybody thought that, Thanos was a Titan and he looked like all other Titans, but now we find out that Titans kind of look like normal people. So something's wrong with Thanos, which means like they're gonna go the route they did in the comic books, where he had kind of a divergent gene and was kind of part deviant or whatever. Dude, it's so complicated. Then the other post credit scene has our boy Kit Harington, who's barely in the movie, who's played. Everybody knows he's gonna be Black Knight. Everybody knows it is from the comics, or whatever. But he opens the box and boom, ebony blade, right? Everybody, oh my god, nuts, ebony blade. And he's about to touch it, and it's like it almost looks like Venom's, like, because it's kind of like moving around and anticipating his touch. And the Star Fox, yeah, not the Star Fox from the cartoons, but the comic book version, yeah. As he goes to grab the blade, a voice can be heard from behind him off screen that says, like, "Are you sure you want to do that?" And now people were freaking out. Like, even in the theater, they were like, "Whoa, what was that voice?" And some people were like, it sounded like the Watcher. And like, oh my God, could the Watcher be coming to like fucking live screen and shit? It wasn't. And I made a guess at who I thought it was. And I mean, I have no proof, but turns out I was right. The director confirmed that the voice coming from off screen was that of Blade. The character Blade, previously played by Wesley Snipes, now going to be played by, what is his name? Mahershala Ali or whatever his name is. And he's going to be playing Blade. They used his voice to record that line, so we know Blade is coming right down the pipe, which some people are speculating.
We already knew that.
Well, I mean, yes, we knew that, but he isn't scheduled to appear yet, is my point. So this is the first iteration of him.
In all fairness, Jonathan Majors wasn't scheduled to appear yet either, and then here he was in
exactly. So it's along those lines. So very cool. I will stop my spoiler. Okay, spoiler warning's done for those that muted. Which I don't know how we're gonna do this on the podcast version. I don't know how the podcast version works out. Like, just people anticipate. But yeah, it was fascinating. And what hurts is when I have to say, like, the post-credit scenes got me more hyped than the movie did. Now, I liked the movie. I enjoyed the movie. I did. Really, I mean, the only knocks is it's kind of long. Some stuff could have been cut out to shorten it down. Left a little too many questions. But otherwise, I liked the movie. I did. I really did. I'd even go back and watch it, on DVD. But the post-credit scenes, man, that's where it's like, oh man, what does this mean? Like, seeds going this way, seeds going, like, it might lead into, the one post-credit scene might lead into, like, not the Eternals, Miss Marvel and, like, the space stuff, or Guardians of the Galaxy 3. That all might get entangled in, whatever. And then, like, the other post-credit scene kind of leads itself towards, like, Marvel Knights doing a little more grounded, like, maybe Moon Knight, maybe Blade, maybe some other stuff, and what pops off with them. So, yeah.
Well, when is Blade fixing to come out?
There's nothing. Nothing is set. It's not filming. It's not nothing. I think right now they only have the guy who's going to play Blade, and I think they've got the director and some of the writers. That's it.
Okay, Blade's release date, according to the official Marvel India Twitter account, the movie Blade movie is slated to land in theaters October 7th, 2022.
I'd put no stock in that whatsoever. They just moved back a bunch of movies that haven't even been titled yet, so I wouldn't hang on that. But it is curious when you think about, like, okay, we know Morbius is right around the corner, right? Mm-hmm. Morbius, the living vampire. Obviously there's classic crossings of, like, Spiderman in the middle with Morbius and Blade going after each other, and, like, that's classic fodder for Marvel. So, like, could we see that possibly in the Marvel universe? I don't know. Possible.
Maybe. I don't know, dude. I don't take a whole lot of stock in any of this stuff anymore. And I'll tell you why. Because they keep saying, "Oh, don't worry about it. Yeah, well, maybe have this guy," but they're getting really, really good at the misdirection stuff.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
They're getting really, really good at the misdirection stuff. Yeah. So it's really hard for me to like. It's really hard for me to, like, lock onto something and really be okay with it. You know what I mean?
And I think, they have to. They have to do it because otherwise, otherwise.
To an extent, okay. I'm just saying. You can be secretive, but not flat out lie about it.
But how?
You know what I mean?
How?
What do you mean how? Just don't say shit. Don't say shit.
Look at how that's working out for Spider-Man. People are losing their ever fucking loving minds over Spider-Man because they're not saying anything.
Good.
But I mean, I guess Scott
that's their prerogative. They don't. I would rather hear nothing than like purpose misdirections.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because then all that does is it takes away from like their credibility. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Like,
I get that.
If someone lies to you all the time, you don't want to fucking believe them anymore. And I'm starting to get that way with Marvel.
I get that.
I just don't want to believe them anymore.
I get that. I totally get that. I mean, it's hard when you have such a rabid fandom that is scooping everything, and like I do wish it was like, just everybody, let's just let go and let's just let them at their pace let us know. But the fandom is so rabid and speculation sells and the rumor mills fly. Like, I don't envy their position. How do you handle that? Because here, perfect example, we've got everybody thinks that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are going to make an appearance in Spider-Man. No matter how many times all of the parties involved have said, no, it's not happening. Don't get your hopes up. It's not going to happen. There's two outcomes. One, they're in the movie and they're like, we tried to get you, but we didn't get you. And then we're like, we knew it. Or two, they're telling the fucking truth and everybody's going to be pissed that they're not in the movie. And it's going to be like, well, sorry about it. We told you the whole time they're not going to be in it, right? So it's like, and either way, it's like it's a lose-lose, because if they are in the movie, here's the thing. If they are in the movie, it's going to, I'm telling you, without a doubt, it's going to be short. It's going to be a few minutes. It's going to be maybe not a post-credit scene, but like right at the end, all seems lost and very Endgame-esque. Portals open, Spider-Man's come in, clean it all up. They do like a little touching goodbye, show's over. I do not see these guys being in the movie for very much at all, if they're even in it. Now, this is actually a perfect segue, because I wanted to talk about Spider-Man. I wanted to, okay?
Oh, weird.
You can go fuck
You wanted
yourself.
to talk about Spider-Man.
You can go fuck yourself,
saying.
Radar. So it is semi-confirmed. We have a runtime. This movie is going to be 159 minutes. 159 minutes. That was around 160. That is a 2.5 hour movie. Before credits, or before previews, before credits, before post-credit scenes. This is going to be a long movie. Which, again, makes sense because of how much they're trying to cram into it. It makes sense that it's going to be so big. Here's the thing. No matter how much, like, Marvel Studios head, Kevin Feige, has been adamant. Keep your expectations in check. Because they know all the rampant speculation. They know, they see it. They fucking got Facebook. They got internets. They know people are like, fucking Aunt May's cat is going to be in this one. Like everyone and their mother is going to be in this movie. And they have constantly said, keep your expectations in check. These people who you think is going to be in it is not in it. But I think they're going to be in it. I really do. I think they're going to be in it. I'm going to be real. I do think. Now, here's the thing. And this is what Kevin Feige said to Empire Magazine. He said, rumors are fun because many of them are true, but many of them are not. The danger is when you get into the expectations game of wanting people to be excited about a movie they get and not disappointed about a movie they don't get. So I do feel like some of the stuff we're ranting about is going to be true and some of it is going to be false. When I read between the lines, that tells me, yes, we're getting Spider-Man, but it ain't going to be much. Like, it's going to be a scene or two, tops. So that's what he's saying by, like, manage your expectations. Like, yeah, some of it's true. We are getting them. But most of it's not true, that it's like they're going to be like it's a whole Spideyverse movie. And I don't think it's going to be that. Now, here's something interesting Tom Holland said in an interview. He said, one more day's work on No Way Home which will be a bittersweet day. So this is at the time he said, like, we have one more day to do, and it's going to be a bittersweet day. He says, I honestly don't know. And when he asked to elaborate on bittersweet, he said, it's the first time since I got cast as Spider-Man that I don't have a contract moving forward. Mm-hmm. He says, it's just really difficult for me to talk about because there's so many things I'd love to talk about that would help me with what I'm trying to explain to you, but I can't because it'll ruin the film. So now if you extrapolate from those words, remember the conversation I had, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, where I said, this could be the movie that takes Tom Holland Spider-Man out of the Marvel universe and puts him in the Sony universe for good. Remember I said that? That was my wild prediction. Hearing those words makes me believe it even more. Because he's saying, I don't have a contract moving forward with Marvel. That's what he's saying.
But hold on a minute. I'm gonna back this truck up.
Right.
You're getting very excited about.
I am getting very excited.
And digging into these things,
Mm-hmm.
we've known basically since Endgame.
Mm-hmm.
Now we've known that Marvel and Sony were going to collaborate for 3 Spider-Man movies.
Mm-hmm.
This is the 3rd one.
Yep.
We've known this is going to be,
which almost didn't happen. But
we're going to say this is we've known for years
mm-hmm.
that this movie was probably going to be the end of that collaboration, right?
Very possibly.
We've known this for a while,
possibly,
right?
Yes.
So we mean possibly. We've known this for a while. They've said we're doing 3 movies together, with the possibility we're going to do more, but possibly we're not going to do
correct,
more, right?
Correct.
And so for Tom Holland to say, "Well, I don't have a contract," well, no shit. We knew you wouldn't have a contract because we knew they're only doing 3 movies together,
mm-hmm.
or unless something drastically changes.
Mm-hmm.
Sony was real hesitant to give Marvel the rights to these movies, right? They've made that pretty well known. When you go onto Disney Plus right now and you try to watch one of the Spider-Man movies, they're not on there. We know that they're not a Disney property. They're not a Marvel property. Right? We know these things.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the 3rd one, when they wrap up shooting, we know that there's going to be some questions as to the future of Tom Holland as Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And hopefully they try to wrap it up in the film.
Sure.
Whether he goes to the Sonyverse or whether his character might have died in this movie. You know what I mean? We don't know. We don't know what's going on. He just doesn't have a contract.
Yeah.
Right? So I mean that's a lot. That can go a whole lot of directions.
First of all, he's not going to die. And here's why. Because Sony's building a Spider-Man universe. They're building a whole Spider-Man, and Spider-Man's going to be the center of that universe. Whether it's Tom Holland or some other Spider-Man. I don't know. Maybe they build it around Miles Morales as Spider-Man. I don't know. But they're building a Spider-Verse. Their own entity. But so... But it's the way where he explains, where he says, like, I want to explain to you what I'm trying to say, but I can't because it's going to ruin the movie. That says that something's going to happen in that movie that would explain why he's not moving forward with Spider-Man and Marvel. He's not going to die. He's not going to die.
He dead. That's why he can't move on no more.
He ain't going to die. Now, I do want to share something. Let's see if I can pull this up. All right. This... Again, spoiler warning, but this is a unconfirmed image of the 3 Spider-Men on the set of the... Now right away, you should be able to go like, this looks fake.
It looks fake as fuck.
Right away, you should be able to say this looks fake. There are, and my initial thought is like, oh, this is clearly a Photoshop job.
Mm-hmm.
But here's some thoughts. If they are Photoshop, incredible Photoshop as far as the individual Spider-Man, right? Like these are not images from other Spider-Man movies, right? If you look at Andrew Garfield right in the center, or not, Tobey Maguire right in the center. He did not have that haircut as Spider-Man, ever. Like, his hair did not look like that. This is a much current version of Tobey Maguire that we have today. That's what he looks like today, not 20 years ago when he was Spider-Man. So that they would have had to put his head on an old Spider-Man body, which never have I ever seen a picture of Spider-Man in that kind of a stance, that version of Spider-Man. So again, it would have to be an incredible Photoshop. Same kind of goes for Andrew Garfield. He just looks way older than when he played Spider-Man. The other thing, and I'm going to share this image. I'm gonna overlay here a bit. So this in the bottom left of your screen is an official. This was from Empire Magazine. This was an official image of the movie. If you look, and it's probably hard to do on this tiny screen, but I blew it up and I looked at it. His facial markings are almost identical to the image that we see. Like that damage to his right side of his face, or I guess that's the left side of his face, if you're looking at him. But the same, he has the same markings. So this is definitely a shot of Spider-Man. Again, could be a Photoshop, but it's definitely a shot of Spider-Man in this movie. Another image that was going around, I'm gonna overlay another one, was this. My God, so many Spider-Man. Andrew Garfield's. This is when they're like, oh, this is confirmed that he's in the movie, but it was kind of out of context, and you could be like, well, it was Photoshop, whatever. But if you look at the railing in the background of that supposed leaked image is very similar to the railing they're standing on now in this image. So when you start to stitch together these leaked photos, it starts to go like, well, it kind of could be. Maybe? Like, it's possible. But again, I feel like if this is real, this is a scene like right at the end of the movie. We see Spider-Man's battle damage. We see these guys showing up there, whatever, gonna teach him a lesson or whatever. Here's the other leaked image that just recently came out. I know. I'm sorry, guys, if I'm doing my crazy like Spider-Man conspiracy theories. So this is an image that just came out, and they said, "Ha! It confirms Daredevil's in No Way Home." And again, right away, alarm bells should be going off, going like, "Oh, this is easy to photo op. You put Matt Murdock in there, and boom, he's Photoshop." Which again, if he is. It really is a good Photoshop job when you consider like that they have to, they have to edit the chair and everybody looking at looking each other in the eyes and all this and all that. And again, and there's another overlay. This in the lower picture is actual scene from the trailer. This is the official trailer scene. If you look at the scene, if you look at where they're sitting in the couch, and you look at the bookshelf in the back, you look at the lamps and everything, it matches this supposed fake shot, right? I mean, It lines up pretty damn good. So you'd have to say, okay, so then you'd have to say, if I take that off, that this is a real scene, but possibly Matt Murdock was photoshopped in. But if that's the case, it doesn't make sense. You wouldn't shoot a scene like this. You would have Marissa Tomei in Matt Murdock's position and nobody in her position, right? That's how you would film that shot. The only reason to have an over the head shot of Aunt May here is because somebody's sitting on the other side of the table. So, it's just one of those things. It's just one of those things, and it's like, I don't know, man. I'm starting to buy into it. I'm starting to buy into going like, well, shit, I guess Matt Murdock's in it too. And this is a scene again, because Tom Holland did an interview and he goes, there's a scene in the movie where I'm sitting at a table with, he goes like Happy's, the character Happy and Marissa Tomei and another actor, he says, and another actor. He very vaguely wrenches. So this is very clearly the scene he's talking about. He's like, I'm sitting at the table and I got Happy, I got, Aunt May and another actor. And it's like, it's an incredible scene. It's very powerful. This seems like it could be that scene. So I don't know. Take it with a grain of salt. Anything could mean anything at this point. I don't know what to believe. I don't know what's real anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just, and this goes back to us saying like, they're not telling us anything. So just people are just scrambling for scraps to put together. And I know I should just sit back and wait and enjoy when it really gets really, I don't know. I'm too overly excited.
You should just enjoy Eternals. And Hawkeye's coming out.
Hawkeye's coming too. We'll be talking about Hawkeye. Excellent. Excellent. Excellent.
Is it a week? Next week?
Yeah, I gotta remember the exact time. Let's see.
Look, it's coming up. November 24th.
November 24th. Yeah, so we're what, 2 weeks away.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah.
Which will be fun. I'm
I'm excited for it, man. I think it's gonna be. I really do think it's gonna be a good show. I do. I think people are gonna like it. Is that spelled wrong? You're not excited for it?
For Spider-Man?
No, for Hawkeye.
Hawkeye, I'm excited for Hawkeye.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be a good show.
Dude, I don't know, dude. Like 3 hours of Spider-Man.
I mean, 2.5 of the actual movie, and then another like 45 minutes of previews and credits. But anyway,
dude, I don't know. It just seems like it's really going to be. I don't know. Maybe with that much time they can actually piece it all together. Yeah. But it sure seems, and maybe hopefully some of your conspiracy theorists are wrong when it comes to this. They're not actually going to have every fucking Spider-Man character and villain they've ever had
ever created ever. It's just the end game scene, and they copy and pasted heads of like all the people that have been in Spider-Man movies.
But badly, like poorly, like it's going to be Tom Holland, like catching Mjolnir and shit. It's gonna be great.
All right, guys, we're gonna toss to a quick break. I got our guest about to join us. After the break, super excited. We got Robbie Amell coming on the show. This is gonna be awesome. We'll see how long we have him for. I don't know. We're just going with it, man. We're just going with it. This is crazy, but yeah, we're gonna have him on the show. Drop questions in the chats if you got anything. Questions about Resident Evil, questions about The Flash, questions about Upload, about Code 8, whatever you want to ask. Drop them in the chats. We'll ask them when we have him on. So don't go anywhere. Join us after the break as we speak with the incredible actor Robbie Amell. After a short word from our sponsors. Say bye, Radar.
Bye, Radar.
All right, guys, we'll see you after the break. Shots.
Do you ever online shopping and go, what the is this? We sell the animation cells you're seeing on the screen. What's an animation cell? Well, we all know digital animation is how you make cartoons these days. Animation used to be created by sequencing hand-painted celluloids. Literally thousands of these hand-painted cells would make up just minutes. To own one of these cells is owning a piece of the show and a piece of your childhood. Check out animationlegends.com today, because once these are gone, they're gone for good.
You're listening to the sounds of WTF Nation Radio. The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Pop Culture Warrior. Oh, we've got a good one for you tonight. So excited. My guest tonight... Oh, let me live. Gotta love live. Why is that? Sure. I'm gonna make sure I get this just right here. Hang on, because that is being silly. There we go. My guest tonight is an incredible actor and producer. You've seen him on TV and in movies. He grew up a typical Canadian boy, grew up dreaming of playing hockey professionally until he got bit hard by the acting bug, starting his career playing Daniel Murtaugh in Cheaper by the Dozen 2. He followed that up with a number of appearances and roles in beloved shows and movies such as The Duff and episodes of How I Met Your Mother and X-Files, The Tomorrow People, and so many more. Of course, The Flash. We loved him in The Flash. Pretty soon, you're going to be seeing a lot more of him. He's bringing to life the bigger than life, the legend Chris Redfield in the upcoming faithful adaptation of the mega hit zombie game franchise Resident Evil, coming this Thanksgiving. He's going to be bringing back his lovable Nathan Brown, the return in season 2 of Upload on Prime Video, and the sequel to the incredible crowdfunded sci-fi action movie Code 8 is coming too. So please, everyone, give a huge pop culture welcome to our guest tonight, Robbie Amell, ladies and gentlemen. Oh man, hey, for you deserve it, and so much more, man. One of my favorite things to do is when I have a guest coming on. Like, I love to dig into their filmography. I love to go like, oh yeah, I saw that, and then go back and read, all the notes and do the thing, because I get excited. I get all these ideas of all these questions I want to ask, and obviously the audience loves it. And guys at home, if you have questions for Robbie, put them in the chat. We'll get to them. I promise. We got to ask all the questions. We got you. We're gonna hang on to you. But first and foremost, thank you so much for taking your time. I know you are an incredibly busy guy, so this is a true honor to have you.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me. I appreciate the invite. I'm just happy to talk with you.
This is gonna be so much fun. Okay, so right out of the gate, same question I give every guest, no matter what part of the entertainment industry they're coming from. Do you have, and what is your connection to the military?
I have not served. I appreciate everyone who has. I work closely. I haven't recently, but I have worked closely with a charity called Camp Hometown Heroes, and they send kids around the United States to summer camp who have lost somebody fighting for their country. And the kids are incredible. The organization is amazing. The people that I've met through it are just really, really amazing people. I have so much respect for people that do and have fought for the United States, for Canada, I just, everyone that I've met that have been total badasses. I did a movie called Max, and I worked with it was myself and a couple actors, and then a bunch of active duty military men and women who were on leave, and they came in to consult on the shoot and to be the rest of the Marines around us, and they were all super cool and super supportive of making us look as good and authentic as we could, because you never want to look bad in front of the real thing.
Sure.
So I really appreciate what you guys do. Thank you.
Fantastic. Yeah, first comment right out the gate from Kaz. He says Max was so good. So yeah, you got your military brethren already saying that, like, the stuff you're doing is good, man. So that's a huge plus.
Cool. We shot in North Carolina, and they turned this rock quarry into like an Afghan village. And I was asking them, like, I was just like, obviously this is not the real thing, but I was like, how does it look? Or like, what are the main differences? And they were like, it actually looks exactly like it. He was like, the smell is not the same. He's like, there's not a lot of plumbing in most of those places. He's like, it smells better here. yeah.
As a guy who served in both Iraq and Afghanistan, the smell is not something that is. I don't think you could. I don't know if you could even like create that smell. Like it's the situation. It's everything. Oh man, it's decades. It's been fermenting. So yeah, that's one that I don't think they'll ever be able to recreate, is that smell. No. But luckily, movies don't have that. Like, was the best, right? The 4D. Yeah, oh my God, that would be the worst. I would not want to see any military movies. All right, so let's take a quick a quick look back.
Sure.
You started modeling and acting in small roles, like as far as like 6 years old. Like,
Well, I mean, kind of. The internet, the internet is semi-accurate on things like this. So my sister and I did commercials and like little like Sears catalogs and
mhm,
stuff
mhm.
when we were kids. My mom got us into it. It was a great way to start putting some money aside for college or for, what we used it mostly for was for like dental work because my mom didn't have dental coverage
Sure.
with her work. And so like my sister and I would need a retainer or a cat, like we had cavities or something like that. And that's where the money would come from. So little things like that. I remember being like pulled out of school. I'd be in school and we just called them my jobs. Like my mom would be like, you have a job today. And I would get pulled out for a half day and I'd go do a little like catalog modeling thing as a kid. But I never thought how weird it was for me to walk up to the teacher and just be like, I have to go. I have a job today. And just like walk out in second grade.
Mm.
But that just kind of made me comfortable in front of a camera. But I was playing pretty competitive hockey. I never really thought of it as a career, but a couple of the guys I played against went to the show. Wayne Simmons was like my claim to fame. We played like minor hockey against each other for like 6 years.
Wow.
It was cool. I got to watch him win a Stanley Cup when I moved to LA, which was rad. But I just kind of was comfortable in front of a camera, and out of the blue, my modeling agent hit me with an audition summer before 11th grade for Cheaper by the Dozen 2. I had never had a movie audition in my life. I went in, I thought it went okay, and I booked it. I just looked enough like Eugene Levy and Carmen Electra's son, and
Sure.
I shot for 2 months, and it just changed my life. I quit hockey. I got into some on-camera classes. I booked a show called Life with Derek out of Toronto, which was like a Canadian/American Disney Channel family channel show. And luckily, it was a big enough success to kind of give me the little bit of clout that I needed to try and get a visa and move to LA and give it a shot. And looking back, it feels like a big deal. But at the time, it was just kind of like, I'll try this. And if it works, I can come home. If it works, great. If it doesn't, I can come home.
Yeah. I'm curious. So right in that moment, the Cheaper by the Dozen 2 and the Disney Plus stuff, the Disney show stuff, like you said, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Like, what was success? What define at that moment? Define what success would have been.
I mean, when I first moved out there, I don't come from a lot of money. My mom and dad don't have a lot, so I put together as much as I could save. A friend of mine, a wealthy friend of mine, his dad made a deal with him. If he went to school in the States, he would get him a house and a car. So he went to University of San Diego, and he was like, dude, come live on my couch. And I was like, okay, free rent. I went, lived on his couch. I got a car because auditions were in LA. So that was the one thing like I needed. I needed to be able to drive back and forth San Diego, Los Angeles. And for me, success was, be able to stay out there longer and continue to try. And I ran out of money after the first maybe I got like 4 or 5 months out of it. And my grandmother, my mom's nanny, who was my nanny when I was a kid, who was like a second mother to me, gave me a chunk of money to continue trying to do it. And that's when I got my first job. So she was a huge reason why I'm able to do this. But I mean, back then it was just audition and try and book, audition and try and get something. And luckily, I was able to get something before I really ran out of money and had to go home and give it up.
Just enough to keep that ball rolling forward, right?
Just enough. I lived off of $5 foot-long subs from Subway. I would break them up, 6 inches, just like eat them throughout the day, and just tried to last as long as I could.
You gotta get that product placement, bro. You gotta get that. I lived off of $5 foot-longs. get that Subway money going, man. So first question from the chat. This is from Mike. Knowing that you and Stephen Amell are as close as you guys are and communicate, he's curious if Stephen has bragged all the time about wrestling on WWE.
You know, he was a huge fan when we were kids, and he's 7 years older, so there was a little bit of a gap where like he was 15 and I was 8, and we didn't really have a lot in common. So
Sure.
we were really close when we were young, and then we fell out, and then we got, right back into being close again when we both lived in LA. And we learned we kind of reintroduced ourselves to each other as adults, because things were obviously different. But he was very much still into wrestling, and still a kid when it came to wrestling, and watching him get to do SummerSlam was so awesome. Just living out his dream, and like he really made that happen for himself. Like, kudos to him. He took what he had from Arrow and was like, I want to wrestle in the WWE, and he did a great job, and they all respect him for it because he went for it. And he still has injuries from like jumping off the top ropes onto a table. He's got like hip problems, and I just know that it was worth it for him.
Yeah. So I'm assuming we're never going to see the Amell tag team on WWE. Is that ever going to happen?
I told him I'm down. He's got his wrestling show now,
Yep.
Heels. He's got a second season. I told him I would do something with him there, but I don't know. It's business is separate. He's got a good in at AEW now, so I think that would probably be easier than the WWE thing. But
there you go.
I don't know.
I'll
leave that to him. He's the pro.
We do tons of wild speculation on this show, so thanks for that, because we're gonna now.
Perfect.
You heard it here, folks. Confirmed. The Amells are coming to AEW. So going back to the early days, I'm curious. Do you have any antidotes from your time on Cheaper by the Dozen? Like any Steve Martin, Eugene Levy? I mean, I can't imagine you're around the talent that you had to be around.
Eugene Levy. So I was the tallest kid, so I was always standing right beside him. And his favorite thing to do was to make me laugh right before they started rolling. And so it was like an ongoing thing where they had to just wait for me to, and like a lot of the times it was just his close-up that had my shoulder in it, and my shoulder would be like shaking because I'm laughing and trying to keep it in. But Eugene Levy is everything you imagine him to be. He's like the kindest, funniest dude. And then after Cheaper by the Dozen 2, a few years later, I did an American Pie movie, and Eugene Levy obviously was in it because he's the constant in those movies. But this is a few years after Cheaper by the Dozen 2. I think it was like 3 years, and I was like, oh man, like I don't even know if he's gonna remember me, and everybody knows that I played his son in this movie. Like this is gonna be embarrassing. And he gets on set, and he just looks around, and he goes, "Where's my son?" And he's just like comes over, gives me a big hug, and I was like, oh man, this guy is forever in my good books. He's the man. I remember one thing he did, because he had so many kids in the movie. I think there was 12 in the Steve Martin family. I think there was 8 or 9 in our family. And on day one, he had memorized all our names so well that he purposely would call us names that were similar to our names, but not our real names. Like the guy was so funny and so smart and so ahead of everybody else. It was really cool to see.
Oh man. Oh yeah. That's a typical starting point for most people's career, to be surrounded by that.
You know who was really impressive to watch, and her sense of humor was just so great and so dry, was Bonnie Hunt. Really? She's just like so sneaky funny, like really quietly would say stuff that there was one time Steve Martin sitting there reading his script, and he's flipping the pages, and she just comes over and she sits beside me, and she's looking at him, and she goes, bullshit, 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 my line, bullshit, 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 my line, bullshit, 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 my line. I was just like, Bonnie Hunt just killing me.
That's awesome, man. I love these tidbits behind the scenes. Okay, I want to get to some of the juicy stuff now. So, I mean, you are gonna be Chris Redfield in a Resident Evil movie. Like, I know we can't talk specifics, right? Because it hasn't come out yet, and lots of secrecy and all that. But let me first ask, in your opinion, or I got a better question. How aware were you of the source material before you signed on? Like how familiar with it?
I grew I grew up on the games. I was born in '88, so I was 8 years old when the first one came out, and I was a gamer. Like I still remember having the first Nintendo. And I remember sitting in my basement, lights off, playing Resident Evil, and the dogs jumped through the window and scared the shit out of me.
Yep.
And it's like one of my first real strong video game memories. And nothing against the 6 movies that they've made. I think Mila Jovovich is a total badass. My buddy Sean Roberts played Wesker in the movies. I've seen all of them. I dig them. I really like them. What's really fun about our version is it's much more an adaptation of the source material. Like it's based off of Resident Evil 1 and Resident Evil 2. Johannes Roberts, the director, is a diehard fan. My first meeting with him was an hour of us just geeking out, talking about the games, talking about his version of the movie, talking about the tone, talking about the Easter eggs, talking about everything. He went to Capcom and had them give him the blueprints for the mansion and the police station because he wanted to be so accurate. And like, I replayed Resident Evil and a little bit of Resident Evil 2 remastered before we shot, and I mean, some of the stuff is pulled straight from the game. Well, the first step into the mansion is like so dead on. There's a scene in a laboratory with green, red, and blue herbs behind me, which is just fucking awesome. And like, they never use them for anything. They're just there. It's just a great thing. Like there's Easter eggs all over the place. He was the perfect guy to helm this movie. I'm super proud of it. Anyone that is a fan of the games is going to lose their mind. And anybody that's never played them before gets this really cool, really fun 90s zombie movie that happens to be a lot more of a horror movie than people expect it to be. Like it's a horror movie first.
I love it. And Greg in the chats, I'm going to agree with him. He says, in speaking of that the dog jumping through the window, I think that's everyone's first memory of that franchise. And I'll take it a step further. I think you ask any 80s kid, even maybe 90s kid, like, what's your first horror game, like the first memory that you can think of, horror game? And I think 90% of them are going to say dog jumping through the window, Resident Evil, just shit my pants. Like, just every single one of them. Absolutely.
Also the first time I see a zombie in the game and in the movie is that one zombie with the white lab coat that's like eating and leaning. The
slow turnover.
It's straight out of the game. It was so surreal to shoot the scene. I was just like, this is childhood dream for me. Like I'm a huge fan of the franchise. I'm a huge Chris Redfield fan. Like this was one of those special ones where I was like, damn, I'm very lucky.
The stars align, as they say. So you kind of answered it, but it led into my second question, which was going to be, in your opinion, on a scale of 1 to 10, how faithful are we talking to the source material for these movies?
So I would say it's a 10 out of 10, with a 10 out of 10 being unbelievably faithful, but the liberties are taken to make everything that is taken from the game matter more. Because if you just took the games and put them into live action, there's not enough material there. Like there's not enough cutscenes. It would be a lot of like lock picking doors. Like it wouldn't quite work.
Very slow opening doors too. They just
exactly. So what Johannes has done is he's taken all of the things that matter from the game, I think, and then he's taken these characters and he's built these relationships and he's given them these backstories, and it just furthers the investment into this world and grounds these characters. And I just think I honestly think that this is the adaptation that fans of the games have been waiting for.
That's it makes my heart just swell. I'm so excited.
It's really cool.
So obviously, given all of this, I mean, the intimidation factor for you as an actor, because I mean, the chips are stacked against you. Let's be honest. It's a hugely worldwide recognizable name. Arguably one of the greatest video game characters of, Chris Redfield. the franchise has been adapted previously. We talked about, and it's been adapted a number of times in different mediums. Like, how much like how intimidating that is that for you as an actor to like, all right, I'm gonna give this a shot and see how it goes.
You know what? It would have been. Maybe it should have been more intimidating, but the script was so great that it was on the page. You know, Johannes was the right guy for the job to captain the ship. I look like the damn character, so I was just kind of like, all I have to do is show up and say the words. You know, there's certain memes and Easter, like people were like, "Are you gonna punch a boulder in the movie?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that would have been really fun, but it wouldn't have made any sense." Like that's you can only go so far with these Easter eggs, right? Like you still have to ground the movie in some semblance of reality because otherwise it becomes a joke upon itself.
Right.
So I just felt so confident in what was on the page and showing up to these sets and wearing the Vietnam flak jacket. Like it was just so much of it was taken care of for me that I was just like, okay, I feel good about this version of the character. Let's bring him to life.
Yeah, and I can't imagine, being a fan, knowing the material. I mean, stepping on the set and being in the mansion, being in the police, like, I mean, what does that feel like? Like you're in a video game at that point.
It was super cool. It was just like, how many times do you walk through the like that front door of the mansion? You go back and forth in that house a million times when you're playing that game. So I've set foot in this mansion I've spent hours of my childhood in this room in the mansion. And to be there, getting to kind of live the dream, I was like, this is so cool. And it didn't hurt that the cast were all awesome. We're super invested in it. Everybody felt like they were making something pretty cool and pretty special. And we were very lucky. It was during COVID. Everything was locked down. We were one of the lucky groups of people that were able to keep working. It was just one of those things where I was like, this is really special.
Yeah. So Greg says the pressure has to be enormous to make it come, to life. From the actual King Smith, he says, I'd love to be in my favorite video game, like as an actor on a set. Like I can't imagine. And then are the doors as creaky in the game? I guess like anytime you open, because those things are super creaky in the game.
We shot in a really old ass mansion for a couple of the scenes. We built the mansion on a soundstage for that, right, for that main room, just because it was so iconic and you couldn't really find that anywhere. But they kind of turned this old ass house into I have a big fight scene in kind of the dining room area, and everything was authentically old and creaky. Like it was this place delivered on the Resident Evil of it all.
Yeah, you gotta make sure you're up to date on your tetanus shots and all that stuff when you're when you're dealing with that. From Jenny in the chat, she says you are perfect for the character. So I'm assuming she's judging you on your looks. How dare you, madam?
Yeah.
He's an actor. He's a trained actor. But no,
hey, man, it definitely helped that I look like the character. I'm like, I remember Capcom sent over notes after the first like wardrobe fitting for everybody, and it was like small tweaks here and there, and it was just like Robbie, no notes, looks just like Chris Redfield.
Try to look less like Chris Redfield. It's too much. Okay, so I'm curious now. Taking a step back, we're gonna break the fourth wall in that Netflix is out there doing a Resident Evil series. I mean, what is that like? Like, how aware of you as a group of actors working on this movie? How aware of you are like that these other guys are doing something similar, but as a series? Like I don't know. How does that feel?
I believe the series is based off of Wesker's daughter, and somebody else is daughter. I think it is its own, very own source material, whereas
Okay.
ours is, the origin story of Resident Evil and based off 1 and 2. I heard today that, I don't know how true this is, so you can throw it in your rumor mill on the show, but somebody told me in an interview that Johannes was talking about doing Resident Evil Code Veronica as the sequel to this. God willing that it is a success on opening weekend. But I think that would be really cool. And honestly, like, as long as Johannes is the guy doing it, I'm in. You can tell how much he cares about it. This was very much like a passion project for him. And he's just an awesome guy too.
Yeah. Man, you're like jumping like you are so on the notes here, man, about my questions, because I was gonna say, like, given that Chris Redfield is one of the mainstays of the franchise, he's one of the most repeated characters, along with like Claire and a couple of the others. Is there? I mean, obviously, I know the business. I know how, right, money moves things, and it's studio decisions and all these things. But do you feel, having been in the movie, that there is room to grow that franchise, that there are ways to go and
it is
seeds?
It is very much left open for a sequel.
Gotcha. Right on.
Yeah.
Right on. Okay.
But like you said, it all depends on the success of the first one. So nobody's talking about a sequel because you got to go see the first one.
Right. We're all going to see it. Everybody here, we're going to see it.
I'm proud of it. I think that what's really cool about it is, like I said, the source material is such a grab for it, but also just like the charm of setting it in the 90s. The music's great. You don't have to deal with the technology of it all, because sometimes that can get you in trouble, especially in these like almost real-time survival movies. A lot of times you go, well, why don't I just use a cell phone? Like shit like that. You're just like, well, this problem can be solved by Siri. Like
right. Yeah, you're like, Alexa, can you call the police?
Yeah.
And it's like, whatever.
Exactly.
No, I mean, excellent point. And the last question I want to ask you just about this role is, obviously Chris Redfield being, military police and very good at what he does. How much training did you have to or get to do for this role?
Right before I've had a couple other roles where I got to do a little bit. COVID kind of shut us out of doing more, but I was lucky. I used to live by the firing line in Burbank, and my wife and I have memberships over there. We used to go over. I trained a little bit for Max before we started shooting. I got there and they kind of put me through a mini boot camp. Nothing like you guys go through, but just making sure that I don't look like an idiot.
Sure.
And I wonder if I have it. Let me see. Hold on one second. I had I don't think I have the video on me. I'm like, my wife and I are in Canada, so I have my Canadian phone.
I didn't know they use different phones out there. I always assumed that.
Well, I've got my Canadian plan, or whatever you call it.
I was gonna say, is it like a hockey
I went
stick?
out. Yeah, it's just a giant. I went out about a couple months before COVID hit. My buddy Batch, who I did the Babysitter movies with, and a couple other movies with, he was training for something, and I saw a video he posted. It was out where Keanu Reeves trained for John Wick.
Right.
And I was like, yo, how are you there? And he's like, you want to come? I'm like, yeah, 100% I do. So I went out and trained with him for an afternoon, and that was really sick. So I enjoy that side of Chris Redfield. Everything we used on set were LED guns, just because you can't be shooting blanks that close to people. And I've got every time I'm firing a weapon on Resident Evil, there are zombies real close.
Right.
We choreographed this really cool fight scene in the dining room where it's pitch black, and the only light is from my muzzle flashes as I
Nice.
fight with the MP5 and then switch to a 9mm and then switch to a knife, and it was just like total dream come true for me. I got to do the entire thing, and every zombie was a stunt man or stunt woman, and they were laying out in this. So it was just like it was so sick.
Oh my god! Wait, this movie needs to come out now. It needs to come out now. I want to see this. I want to see it now. All right, let's switch gears because again, you're in so much right now, and you're doing so much, and I am a fan. I really am a fan, and I'm not just saying that. Upload. The first season, loved it. I'm a big. I mean, in case you can't tell, I'm a huge nerd, but I love technology. I love technology. I love all that stuff. So the idea of like the consciousness and the computer and virtual reality and the body suits and the gloves and the this and the drones, all of it. Love all of it. I'm curious, as an actor, was it difficult kind of bouncing back and forth to like, okay, I'm going to do the movie now. Now I'm going to go back to this series, which is, filmed very differently for those that don't know. But I'm going to go back to the series, then go back to the movie. Like, how's that been for you, going kind of back and forth?
It hasn't been that difficult for me, only in because the time between them, it wasn't like right back to back. Like I just did a movie in Vancouver, and literally 5 days later, it was a romantic comedy, and 5 days later, I was on set for Code 8 Part 2. So that one was a little weirder. I'm like, okay, I got to reset the gears here a little bit. But like the break from upload season, or from Resident Evil to upload season 2 was a little over a month. So plenty of time to reset. The other thing is like so much of it is I find is just setting and wardrobe and stuff like that. I mean, every day on Resident Evil, you're getting sprayed down with sweat, fake blood, dirt, and putting on the wardrobe. They're like, here's your flak jacket, here's your MP5, here's your and you're just kind of like, okay, I'm in it now.
Yeah, I'm that
and
guy.
Like, yeah, and then on upload, they're like, here's your gray tracksuit. I'm like, yeah, okay, here we go.
Here's the green screen, because there's a lot of CGI, right? It's just a lot of green screen stuff.
It's surprisingly not a ton of green screen. The CG is normally just like done in
post,
kind of smaller amounts to enhance what's already there. We shoot in Vancouver at University of British Columbia campus, and it's just gorgeous. And so it's normally just like a little bit of landscape replacement, that sort of thing, or like you'll know about what the visual effect is in the shot, but it's not a lot of green screen. And then like, getting back to that is you've got Greg Daniels, who's a genius, Parks and Recreation, The Office, the guy has The Simpsons, King of the Hill, like just the track record of the Saturday Night Live. He's insane. And he's like the best guy. He is, for someone who's so successful, there's no ego, super collaborative. I just can't say enough great things about him. So with him kind of steering the ship, it's like, all right, I know we're in good hands. He won't let me look like an idiot.
Unless that's what the scene calls for. I mean, that's...
Yeah, of course. Exactly.
It's comedy.
Then he'll really deliver.
I'm curious because obviously there was a very big break. Obviously, COVID happened. Season 1 was awesome. Kind of leaves on a huge cliffhanger. Don't want to spoil it for people that haven't seen it. Go see it. How did COVID kind of change? Did it change anything? I mean, I know as you're coming out of season 1, there's kind of an idea of what season 2 is going to be. With that long pause, was anything changed, or was it just like we're starting when we can start?
It slowed down everything by a little bit, but it slowed down everybody. With that being said, we were one of the lucky shows that was able to shoot through it. Things were a little different, and there were more strict rules in place and stuff like that. So it wasn't as fun, but we still got to shoot a TV show. And you'd never know when you're watching it. Like, there's no sign of COVID while you're watching the show. It did bump our episode count down a little bit. First season's 10 episodes. The second season is 7 episodes, just because everything took a little longer to shoot. With that said, the 7 episodes are awesome. I just watched them about 2 weeks ago. They sent them over for Italia and my wife and I to watch. And we binged them in one night. It was like 3.5 hours of TV, and I think anyone that liked the first season is going to really love the second season. We leaned into some of the same weirdness. The cliffhanger on season 2 is like, it's not as big a cliffhanger,
Okay.
but everybody's going to be like, oh.
Yeah. It leaves you wanting more, but it
does.
Oh man, that first season one, it's just like, oh my, like what? Like there should be another episode to button it up. But
the good thing is season 2 picks up right there. It's
right.
not like a time jump. Season 2 is like same scene.
Yeah.
Pick up.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that. And I'm curious, again, just from kind of behind the scenes perspective, with a lot of shows, when you do the first season, right? I mean, there's no gauge to go off of, especially something as creative and one of a kind as this is. It's not very procedural, doesn't really follow the formula that of many other shows. But when that first season comes out, you can kind of see like, hey, what went well, what maybe didn't go well. Was there a lot of like reflection in the sense of like, all right, we're gonna try to do these things slightly different for season 2?
I think Greg is pretty smart. He's got his ear to the ground. I think he knew before it even came out what things worked best from the first season, what didn't. I think one of the things that people liked was that it was an easy watch and then kind of an escape from what was going on in the world, but was still very relevant to the world that we live in. Like throughout the first season, from when we finished shooting it to when it came out, a couple of the things from the show happened in real life. So when people watched it, it looked like we were just like really on top of it, but Greg was actually first. He predicted some of these things. So I'm wondering if he does it with the second season as well. We always joked around. We're like, Greg, you should predict certain things that we want to happen,
right?
Just so that they do.
Certain lottery numbers, things like that.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Because
your favorite sports team, make them win the Stanley Cup or the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, you look at shows. Sorry, I didn't mean to. Like Star Trek, they had to. Okay, in the future, we're gonna see, and like a lot of the stuff came right. The screen, the flat screen TVs, the holocoms, and the VR headsets, and like all this stuff that like, all right, yeah, that kind of happened. So it'd be cool to see a lot of the upload stuff kind of start to come to fruition.
It's cool. He's kudos to him. He and the writing team do a ton of research. They find things that are like, it wants to feel like it's a few years in the future, not decades in the future. You want it, and I think he does a great job of that. Like it feels like we're getting real close to some of the things on that show.
Yeah. Oh my God. I'm curious, given how close you are to the material. What are your thoughts? Would you want to be uploaded into the cloud? Would you want your consciousness to go on?
Yeah, I mean,
without all the pop-up ads.
Yeah, I want the good version of it. 2 gig would be a little rough, but I mean, whatever. I really like Nora's speech at the beginning, like in the first episode, where she's like, kind of just shits all over Nathan wanting to jump into the torrent, and like, it's a well-written, smart speech, and I think it resonates with people, and whether you're alive or uploaded, like you're still experiencing these things, and whatever's next, we don't know what that is, but what this is. So whether it's this for a little while or this forever, I mean, what you're getting, and if you get bored of it, you jump in the torrent and you see what's next.
I love it. Oh God, I love it. The last thing I'll ask about this show, which and everybody in the chats is just kind of agreeing with everything we say, whether it's Resident Evil, whether it's this show, or like, oh my God, I'm so excited. Like literally just agreeing with everything you're saying. So your fan base is like, you're right on the pulse with the fan base here. Good. So for the last thing I was going to say for this one is obviously, again, being vague, because I don't like ruining things for other people, but we leave in a position where he's kind of, let's say, frozen.
I got dropped.
Yep, there we go. We got you back. We got you. We leave off in that first season. He's kind of frozen, kind of just like in the situation just happened. He got stuck. Without, because I don't want to spoil like how he gets back, whatever. But where can we see his character kind of going? I mean, is it more of the same? Are we going to be in familiar situations? Is it going to be kind of a whole different route? I mean, anything you can tease without spoiling? Anything you can tease?
Well, I think Ingrid showing up in Upload World and having uploaded is a huge deal. I was excited about that just from a comedic standpoint because I think Allegra, who plays Ingrid, is hysterical. And like, it's so funny because she's the opposite of her character. Like in real life, she is the kindest, sweetest person, which is why I think she can get away with saying some of the shit that her character says, because she's just innately such a fun person, like, and a kind person. Like you want to watch her do these things. But her showing up is big. Kevin, who plays my buddy Luke on the show, he has a bigger role in the second season. Same with Zainab, who plays Alicia, and they're both so funny. And then there's the mystery aspect with Nora and like what's gonna happen with her kind of fleeing the city and whether or not she knows how I feel at the end of the season. So it picks up right where it left off. I think it delivers on all of these relationships. It's fun. It's really fun. It's super weird. The finale's so good. The finale was written by Greg's son, Owen, who was a writer on the show at 19 years old. He's 21 now, and he's unreal. He's a genius. I mean, he's Greg's son. He's a genius. His idols are Greg and Conan O'Brien. He's like, the kid is a genius.
Yeah, he's good. He's in good company.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's so great. So yeah, guys, keep an eye out. Season 2 upload Amazon Prime Video. Awesome. February-ish. Yeah. and if anybody knows the quality, I mean, he's seen all the episodes. So it's great. So speaking of which, I guess you fall into the camp. I know some actors like I can't ever watch anything I've ever been in. I guess you fall into the camp of where like, let's watch it.
I like to watch it once and then I'm done. I mean, I think that I can learn from seeing it once. I can constructively criticize my own work. I can see what worked, what didn't work, what I bought, what I didn't buy. And I want to see, it was funny with Upload. I'm such a huge fan of the rest of the cast, like getting to see the scenes that I wasn't in, or just see how, the scenes that I was in that were really fun to shoot, like how they turned out. And getting to watch it with my wife and like experience that, like that sort of thing is just cool to me. The only other time I watch things that I'm in is if I can watch it with my mom, just because she's my biggest fan and it's fun to get to see her like kind of just be a mom. And so that's really cool. But I don't like to. I remember when I was doing the press tour for the Duff, I watched the movie like just so many times, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. And I love Mae Whitman; she's hysterical, but I was just like, I can't do this anymore.
Oh man, I can't. Yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, you're an actor. I hate seeing myself on any type of recording, so I can't be on that level. So okay, we're running short on time, man. And this is just blowing by, but I definitely want to give some love also to Code 8. Code 8 is an incredible movie, and when you take into the fact that you and Steven, you produced it and starred in it, and like that it was a crowd sourced movie, like from a I'm trying to wrap my brain around like what was the process of going like, well, we want to do this. Let's take it to the people. Let's see, like, what were your expectations before you kind of launched that crowdfunding?
So my buddy Jeff Chan, who directed the movie, he came to me because we wanted to work together, and he was like, I've got an idea. He sent me the pitch, and he was like, we can do this, but we got to finance it. And I was like, okay, well, what is it? And he said 50,000 bucks. And I was like, okay, 25 grand each. If we're not willing to spend that on ourselves, why should we expect anyone else to? It ended up being 70 grand. So 35,000 bucks each. We made the short film. The short film looks a hell of a lot more expensive than that because we have very talented friends who believed in us as well. And, you know, granted, now they are the visual effects company that did the first movie. They are currently doing the second movie. They've blown up. They're huge. They're called Play Fight Visual Effects out of Toronto, and they're amazing, amazing, amazing people. But we were just like, let's do this. And you kind of have to just be okay with never seeing that money again. Because if history tells you anything, you're not going to. And, you know, luckily for us, the short film was really good. It front paged on Reddit. It went viral. And then this was back when Facebook and Instagram and Twitter hadn't changed their algorithms yet to like having to buy
space
views and like, you know, to buy eyes. And we just, you know, we caught lightning in a bottle. It just hit at the right time. We felt like we could do something that didn't feel like we were selling people on something, you know? And we were honest with the campaign. We were just like, all of this money's going to the movie. Like, none of us are turning a profit from this thing. Literally everybody on the movie took scale. Everyone would have taken less money, but there is, at a certain budget bracket, there's a minimum amount of dollars you can make because of the union. So everybody took the minimum they could across the board. Wow. Because they cared about the project. And that's why it feels, you know, so much bigger than it is. We had $3 million Canadian from Indiegogo, which after tax was like half of that, but we had $1.5 million. We had Telefilm, which is like Canadian government grant and tax credits, and then 1.5 million US from an equity financier who's a friend of mine who believed in us and wanted to be a part of it, and they were first dollar out, and proudly we can say that we have paid them back all of their money from taking a chance on us and making the movie. But it was amazing. We traveled the world doing premieres for that. We went Toronto, Vancouver, New York, Chicago, Dallas, Miami, Los Angeles, London, Sydney, and Perth. And like, we shared the movie with thousands of people. I think it was a little over 30,000 people backed the movie. And we owned it, and we took it to Netflix, and we were like, we think that you are the best place for this movie. And it's funny, they were kind of like lukewarm on it, and we were like, no, we're telling you, like, you guys are, we know that we will do well on your platform. And so they took it. They were kind of like, okay, like, we didn't get a great deal selling it, but we knew that that was where we wanted to be.
Right.
And they called us 2 days before we premiered, and they were like, look, you know, it's tracking well, but we won't really know anything until it comes out. So if you break into the top 10, you know, that would be great. But if you don't, like, don't worry about it. And day 2, we were the #1 movie in the U.S. and the #2 overall, only behind Tiger King, which was a phenomenon. So nobody's touching Tiger King.
Yeah.
And they phoned us, and they were like, this is unbelievable. We can't believe this is happening. You guys kind of broke the algorithm on this one. And luckily they saw the success, and they came to the table in the second one. So it is the second one we're shooting in Toronto right now. It is a Netflix original. It is bigger. It is badder. It is awesome.
Yeah. And a couple comments too. Code 8 was, all caps, fantastic. Knew nothing about it before I watched it, but I really enjoyed it. So again,
cool.
Huge kudos. And I think when I was doing the research too, I think it's the most successful film campaign on Indiegogo in like the history of Indiegogo.
It's definitely the most successful Canadian one. It's definitely top 3 US. I don't know where we stand now, because the last time I looked was a long time ago. but I believe we are also just the most successful release, like actual
Right.
finished product of a movie in Indiegogo history.
Right.
Like we set the record for a day and date sale release through Vertical before it went to Netflix, and then we were number one. We were the number one movie in the U.S., the U.K., a ton of countries across Europe and Asia, and it was just like totally mind blowing for all of us. It was really, really, really cool. I'm super proud of it.
Yeah. From the chats, someone, please tell me you sent an email back to Netflix saying we told you it would work. Oh, yeah.
They kind of phoned us and were like, all right, okay,
Yeah.
we didn't see this like you guys did.
Yeah, and I mean the sequel greenlighting, that's them saying like, all right, you were right. Like, let's do this.
And they care about it. Like Ted Sarandos personally announced it at there was a Banff film, like I don't think it was a film festival, it was like this film conference, and he announced it as the first Netflix original Canadian movie, and they really care about it, which is really cool. I was speaking with the head of marketing for Netflix Canada the other day, and she was like, we're already prepping things for you guys. Like it's really cool. It's awesome. Like the first one released, and the algorithm had to like start working based on people watching it, whereas the second one, like, it sounds like we're going to get that like Netflix front page red carpet treatment, which is just super badass.
Yeah. And because I mean, let's be real, there is kind of a line in the sand of where like, oh yeah, it came out on Netflix versus like Netflix like hammering it home like it's coming, like the big push. I'm curious because at the end of the first movie, we see your character Connor, we see Steven's character Garrett kind of going their separate ways, kind of going off into their own where have you. Can you give us a tease of what brings them back together? Like what's the motivation? Because the first one was your mom, and obviously she passes. Yes. Spoiler alert, she passes in the movie. So what's kind of is it just survival mode now? Like what's the crux of it?
I don't know how much I'm allowed to tell you. The second movie picks up years after the first one ends. I don't want to give too much away other than Garrett and Connor are not together at the beginning of this movie. Connor wants nothing to do with them.
Sure. And
then circumstance brings them across each other's path again.
Excellent. That's what I wanted to hear. That's, believe it or not, that's all I wanted to hear, is that like, we don't just pretend like, movie starts and they're buddy. They're like going on adventures, the Hardy Boys,
No, these guys are not friends at the beginning of this movie.
Perfect. Oh, that's perfect.
or maybe at the end.
If they both make it out alive. Can you maybe give us a little bit on, obviously, like you said, bigger budget, bigger this, how are you guys further developing that universe, right? Because it's obviously its own world, right? It's different from us. It's closer than anything, like maybe X-Men. It's like the closest faithful adaptation to like an X-Men movie that we've seen, really.
It's like X-Men meets like, I don't know, The Wire. Like,
yeah.
It's like, we've always wanted, grounded sci-fi is kind of my favorite genre. And our big thing was like, the powers have to have consequences, and when these robotic police officers, like when they attack, they are lethal and brutal, and there are real consequences to actions in our movie, and people die, and they die quickly, and we always just wanted it to feel real and scary, but not like dark for no reason. So, the stakes are higher in the second one. We do introduce a couple new powers, which are cool, and just kind of an interesting build out of the world. There are some new, so the big robots in the first one are 1078s. So there's some 1078s in the second one, but we introduce a new robot, which is I don't want to give too much more away
No.
than that because I don't know if that'll be a reveal, but um, it's really cool. Jeff and Chris, who wrote the first one, they learned so much from the first one. I think the second one, right off the bat, is a stronger script. We had two other writers, Sharon and Jesse, who we had just worked with on a romantic comedy, and they brought just another dimension to the movie. And we brought back so much of the team from the first one. It's just, working with friends and family. There's nothing better.
That's awesome. I'm so excited. I can't wait to see it. You're working on so many awesome things, man. God damn it.
I'm very lucky.
Like fanboy over here. A couple more questions from the audience. And actually, this ties into a really good one. I read that you openly put it out there that you would love to play Terry McGinnis in a Batman Beyond movie. So one of the questions in the audience
running
is,
out of time though. He's young, I'm running out of time.
yeah, you get, you makeup, CGI, you'll be fine. But so the question from Scott in the audience is, what other iconic characters would you like to portray?
Oh God, I'll play any Marvel character, literally anyone. And I don't care if I've heard of them or not. Like, I used to think, oh, I want to play this one or I want to play this one, but like, I think there's something interesting about playing one that is a little lesser known. Like, I didn't know anything about the Guardians of the Galaxy, and it was one of my favorite movies. So I think if the right people are involved, I would play any of them. I wasn't a huge fan of Thor. I thought Thor was kind of boring, and then Thor Ragnarok came out, and I was like, oh, this is now one of my favorite superheroes. Like,
Yep.
the comedic weird version of Thor is immensely more watchable than like Game of Thrones Thor.
Yeah.
So I would, I would do a Marvel anything. My big thing, to be honest with you, is I want to continue working with good people. I've been super lucky to work with talented actors and talented directors and talented producers and writers, and that's when I have the most fun. Like, it doesn't matter the genre, it doesn't matter the so much how well known the character is. I just want to work with good people and keep making fun stuff. And I kind of like that cross genre thing where, going from the romantic comedy to Code 8, like these are entirely different movies, but you get to flex a different muscle and make something for somebody, well, not to say there's no cross demographic, because I'm sure people like both, but you're servicing a different audience, which is fun.
Yeah, and I'm sure as an actor, you're like you said, you're flexing it, you're stretching that, your I don't know, your skills. Adding, military, we always say adding another tool to the toolbox. Like you're
of course
throwing something in there. Yeah. Oh my God, I'd love to see you in the Marvel movies. I don't care. Just pick somebody, pick one. Call them and pick one and just do it.
I'm in. Whatever.
Oh man, we're like right at time. I'm gonna ask you like one more question. I'm curious.
Sure.
I'm curious. I don't know if anyone's ever put this together. I might be the first, but you played Fred in a TV movie live action of Scooby-Doo twice.
And then I played Scooby.
And then you played Scooby in How I Met Your Mother. I mean,
I actually said that in the audition. So I went in for this. I had done the Scooby-Doo movies. I went in for this audition for How I Met Your Mother. I was a big fan of the show. The character was a Canadian hockey player named Scooby, who acted like a dog. And I walked in. I had a fucking hockey jersey with a dog on it because my sister works for the Niagara Ice Dogs, which is a hockey team, OHL team out of Niagara Falls. And I went in wearing the jersey, crushed the audition scene just because it was like super fun and weird and totally something I was into. And I finished the audition and I was like, look, he's a Canadian hockey player named Scooby. I'm like, I'm Canadian, hockey player. I'm in the Scooby-Doo movies. If I don't get this part, I'm quitting acting. The cast director started laughing. I didn't hear from her for a week. I'm like, fuck, I didn't get this role. And then they called and they're like, yeah, you booked it. You're coming in. That cast was so cool. On a show like that, which was already, which was already such a huge success with such massive stars, to come in and have them treat you like family on a one episode guest star was really cool. Jason Segel, day one, was like, "Hey man, let's grab lunch," and just like made me feel like, I was young too. I was pretty early on in my career. I was like maybe 20 or 21 or something. Sounds old for a lot of things, but in that business, it's like super young, and then you're walking into this, you're working with these powerhouses, and they were just super cool. I can't say enough great things about that whole cast. They were awesome.
Yeah. We actually had Carter Bays, the co-creator of the
cool.
show. We had him on the show. We went to town talking How I Met Your Mother, but
That's awesome.
Personally, one of my favorites. Again, I'm a nerd when it comes to TV and movies, but I do love your appearance on it. It's a classic.
Thank you.
It's so over the top, silly.
It's so weird,
but it's so good. It's so good. Couldn't recommend it enough. All right. Like I said, I got a ton more questions, but you have been absolutely awesome.
I gotta go to sleep. I got 9 hours of interviews tomorrow.
Oh God.
Tomorrow is 9 hours of interviews, and Thursday's 9 hours of interviews. It's tomorrow's domestic and Thursday's international. All Resident Evil stuff.
Oh man,
I got a 2-year-old who's gonna wake my ass up at 6:30.
Thank you, dude, so much for your time. This was absolutely, the audience loved it. I loved it. So giving of your time, man. You are an incredible actor. I wish you all the success. I cannot wait to see Resident Evil in theaters, upload on Amazon Prime, and Code 8. Whenever Code 8, is there gonna be is it just gonna be a part 2, or is there gonna be is it Code 9? Okay.
Code 8 Part 2. We toyed around with it, and we're like, you know what? It's Code 8 Part 2. It helps people find that there's a Part 1.
Excellent.
When you have a number in the title, it's tough to do anything else.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I gotta tell you, I really appreciate the interview. Thank you for your service. Thank you to your listeners for their service. I really appreciate it, and it was great getting to chat, man. Absolutely.
All right, guys. Check out Robbie Amell. Usually I'd social media and all that. Dude, you know where to find the guy. You know. Come on. You know Robbie Amell. You know where to find him. All right, guys. We're going to toss it to a quick break. We'll be right back with more after this. Shucks.
Are you ever online shopping and go, what the is this? We sell the animation cells you're seeing on the screen. What's an animation cell? Well, we all know digital animation is how you make cartoons these days. Animation used to be created by sequencing hand-painted celluloids. Literally thousands of these hand-painted cells would make up just minutes. To own one of these cells is owning a piece of the show and a piece of your childhood. Check out animationlegends.com today, because once these are gone, they're gone for good.
You're listening to the sounds of WTF Nation Radio. The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. Let's bring my main man, Radar. Let's bring him on out, shall we? Ladies and gentlemen. Woo! Radar. Hi-oh.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, everybody. Say hi, Radar.
What's up? Hi, Radar.
Oh, man. Stephen Amell, ladies and gentlemen. How freaking awesome. Stephen Amell. Jesus Christ. Robbie Amell. Oh, my God.
Did you just talk to?
Well,
Dude,
he's never coming on the show again.
Right. No, dude, he has so much fun. Very few guests don't have fun on our show. Let's be honest. So I've yet to see one. I
got nothing. I really enjoyed talking with him.
Yeah.
I hope we don't get I feel like he gave us a lot more than what we were asking for. Because I'm like,
Absolutely.
I'm like, okay, very vaguely, like how he's like, oh yeah, I'm in this one scene and I stab the dude with the knife and then I come around with the Glock and I was like, all right, well, cool. I'm looking forward to that scene of the movie. Like that sounds awesome. And he's like, oh yeah, this character's in, this character's in, and then there's this one scene. And I was like, okay. I'm so used to actors have to be very careful. They're like, oh well, you have to see it when it comes out and blah blah blah. But nah, he was awesome, man.
Yeah, but you know what? But having it described like that makes you want to see it.
Oh my god.
You know what I mean? What he just did right there, things like that. That's what Marvel needs to do to get me excited about their shit. Not go through hours and hours and hours of Photoshop fucking pictures to see whether or not it's the same lamp as in the other picture. That's dumb. I don't want to do that. I want to have I want to have Thor up there and be like, yeah, and then I hit this guy with the hammer, and then fucking it's awesome, and then I drank a beer. It was great. Like if you have that, you have him, have Chris Hemsworth come out telling stories like that, we're gonna want to watch the movie.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Could you imagine before Endgame if Chris Hemsworth came out and be like, yeah, in this one I'm fat and I drink beer and it's fucking balling. You'd be like, really?
I think
Right, yeah,
we would have been shut down so fast. The internet would just stop working for a good hot minute and disconnect us. In fact,
and then the Marvel guys would be like, yeah, these guys are weird. No one would have believed that.
Redacted. They just redact the whole conversation.
When Fat Thor came out, nobody thought Fat Thor was going to be a thing. Then all of a sudden it was. We're like, yeah, now I'm built like a superhero. This is awesome.
Yeah. I went for a minute when he froze. I was like, oh my god, the secret guys behind the scenes. They're shutting us down. He's telling too many secrets. Like he froze for a second. I was like, oh, that's it. We got shut down. The snipers got us. But yeah, no, that was an absolutely phenomenal interview. Robbie Amell is incredible. I'm truly excited, like, for the stuff he has coming out for Resident Evil, Upload Season 2, and Code 8 Part 2. I think, all those are great projects, and we didn't even get to really like deep dive into the mythos and what it means, and like there's so much more to it. But he was, so giving of his time, and to know. Let me real quick, so that you guys can have an appreciation, because you can't see what I see on my side, but Robbie is literally in between projects, and in between projects meaning like last week he finished one, and next week he starts back up on another one, and this was supposed to be his week of like chill, and of course they booked him solid for interviews, and in going back and forth with his management, like Robbie has always, since the day one when I reached out to him, he's like, yes, I want to do it, but I'm filming this thing, we just got to find a time where I can literally do it. And so a couple weeks ago, and why we never really confirmed it until today, is because he was like, I knew he had such a small window, and realistically he told us, he's like, look, I can 1:00 in the afternoon, I can make it happen. We'll have to pre-record it, whatever it is, you know what I mean? And like, we'll do it, because, he has a schedule, he has a life. And I was like, hey, well, we'll take what we can get, man. Like, I'm so appreciative of your time. Take what we can get. And just kind of in going back and forth, it magically just things lined up. And he's like, look, you guys are live at 9:00, right? And I was like, yeah, we're live at 9:00. He's like, fuck it, let's do it. Let's go live at 9:00. So, for him to be as flexible as he was, to knowing, he's got a 2-year-old at home, knowing this is his 1 week of rest and relaxation, knowing he's going to do 18 hours of interviews over the next 2 days, for him to take his nighttime with us and to do a solid hour with us is just by far and away, like, that is the classiest dude. Like,
yep,
what a baller move for him to do. And fuck, we're not, let's be honest here, we're not the Today Show, right? We're not Joe Rogan Experience. We're not Howard Stern. We're a little mom and pop shop over here. You know what I'm saying? We got a little pop up, we got a little startup here, and for him to take the time and do that, like, knowing, like, guarantee it, over the next 2 days he's gonna be on fucking The Good Day New York and Today Show and fucking USNBC. I don't know. He's gonna be on all these things promoting shit. He's gonna be promoting this stuff across the world, internationally, and like, you know, the fact that he took the time to be on Pop Culture War. I mean, fuck, bro.
Yeah, but we're getting big time, buddy. They're gonna want us everywhere. Everywhere.
I'm touched. I'm fucking touched, man. God damn it, I'm touched.
Dude, I'm honestly, I'm excited. I'm excited that people are still out there that are generally give a shit and are cool about things. You know what I mean? Like, because you could just as easily could have been like, yeah, dude, this is when I got 2:00 in the afternoon and we gotta fucking pre-record it because I am a busy man.
Yeah.
But no, he went on his way. That's cool.
And AJ in the chats, man, thanks for bringing it up because I forgot about it. Apparently, because truth be told, what he's talking about, he said great stuff on the interview on Twitch today. And it took me a second to realize what he was talking about because that was pre-recorded. It looked live, but it wasn't. I hate to be the bearer, like to spoil the beans there. I did an interview with two higher ups over at Sony. We were talking about veterans and employment and different things. So one of the guys was like the VP of like future technology at Sony. And one of the guys was like from I don't know, I recorded that like a week and a half ago, so I don't remember exactly, but it's something to do with player experience for Sony PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was a great interview and learned a lot and actually connected with the one guy from Sony. I'm trying to get him on the show. I'm like, listen, man, you like oversee all the future tech for Sony. Like, I think we could have a decent conversation about the future of technology in Sony. I think I can keep up with you guys on that conversation. So, so yeah, thank you. I need to find the link for that so that I can post it. He says, I'm an alumni, 11 Bravo 2, streamer for WWP. Nice, man. This streamer, Max-a-Lot11. Go check him out on Twitch. Max-a-Lot11.
So did you talk those guys from Sony? Did you convince them to give us free PlayStations?
Dude, no. First, you get them on the show. Then you get the free PlayStations. That's, we're one step at a time.
Because here's the thing. We have talked on this show several times how I'm an Xbox dude.
Uh-huh.
I prefer because
So you're willing to sell your allegiance.
I will say this.
Your fandom is for sale. Got it.
Yes. Give me a free PlayStation 5 and I will give you my honest opinion of it. I will play it for a certain amount of time and I'll do a review on this show.
Yeah.
For everybody.
That's who they want their spokesman to be. That's who they want their spokesman to be, Radar. They want Radar to be the spokesman for it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
so
sweet.
Just go ahead. If you're out there listening, PlayStation people, and you want to send Radar a free PlayStation 5, or I'll tell you what, or I'll do this too, Xbox people. If you're from Microsoft and you want to get me to play the new Xbox Series X, I will give you my address and you can send me one, and I will test it for you.
Oh man, loyalty knows no bounds with you, Radar. Knows no bounds.
Just like the other night, fucking Ice was wearing that like shirt he got from his buddies or whatever, and I was like, "You have him send me a free shirt? I'll wear it on the air." I'm cheap, man. I don't gotta worry about it. I wear my CQ shirt on here too. I'm my Pop Culture Warrior shirt. Sometimes I gotta wash it. It's in the wash.
Speaking of like swag and shit, like when I did the benefit last night. Got a couple swag items, so it's going right in the prize pack. Like, anytime I go to these things, and like, they got some decent swag, man. Some it was like gym bag and canvas bag and tumblers and a bunch of shit, hats and shirts.
To win these things.
Yeah, man.
I'm gonna try harder to win these things.
Yeah, but AJ, thanks, man. AJ put the link to the interview. I'm gonna copy that. I might repost it on the page, because it was a good interview, man. It's a good interview talking about employment and veterans and stuff. Plus, I got to talk with Sony guys, so that was cool. And I gotta get that Sony dude. That reminded me. I totally forgot about it. I gotta get that dude and get him on the show. But
yep, you do.
Other than that, what think that's everything, right? I feel like I'm forgetting something.
I think so.
Anyway,
King news.
Robbie
Tiger
Amell.
King news.
No. Well, I mean, technically there is, but what's her name? Carol Baskin's suing Netflix, and
Weird.
not succeeding. Surprisingly, they got thrown out of court. Didn't last. It lasted like a day. Like, I'm suing, and the judge, like, the next day is like, no, stop. Gotta they fuck that Carol Baskin. The judge
Carol
under his robe, there's a shirt that says "Free Joe Exotic." He's a big Joe Exotic fan. Like that.
He's got like a Joe
bitch.
Exotic tattoo on the inside of his arm and shit.
Just,
That way when he jerks it, you can see old Joe.
on one side it's tigers, and on the other side it's meth. Like, he's just under his
Tiger
judge robe.
King on his knuckles. Bam.
Oh,
Wrong
Jesus.
judge, buddy. Wrong
Jesus.
judge.
Yeah, I love that Amell was like, he's like, yeah, we were number 2 because, you know, Tiger King. You're not gonna you're not
That's
gonna.
my favorite part of the interview.
He's
Like,
swimming
I love
against
your
the
shit,
the
Tiger
current.
King, you're no Carol Baskin.
you know.
You're no Joe Exotic. You got all your teeth.
Yeah,
You're way too pretty for that show.
way too pretty.
Robbie.
Alrighty, well, we, ladies and gentlemen, have reached the end of another amazing edition of Pop Culture Warrior. We're going to continue to bring you all the latest breaking news in pop culture world, as well as amazing interviews like the one we just had with Mr. Robbie Amell, Mr. Radar.
Candid reviews of technology products.
fair
donated to,
fair reviews of
fair
any
and balanced.
free product we're given.
I thought Go XLR. El Gato should have just gave me a freaking. That'd been cool.
I've been trying to get on that
Straight
El
deck.
Gato, dude. El Gato, they got so many people. Like, they're, yeah. Even I tried. I'm like, I got like 12 El Gato products sitting in front of me. Like, man, throw me a plug. But no, they're not.
Yeah, what else are you
they're
gonna
not
get?
having
You already
any.
bought all your shit. What are they gonna do? Give you nothing?
I'm just saying, like, when the next thing they come out with, they could toss it to me. But no, they're not gonna. They've got famous people doing their shit. They don't need
we're
me.
not famous.
No.
Do they have their own? Do they have their own hat line?
I mean,
Do people dress up as them for Halloween? I don't
just
think so.
El Gato products.
No, not
Kid
El
comes
Gato
to
products. I'm talking about the fucking.
kid comes to the
People dress
door.
up like
He's like,
CQ for
"What?
Halloween.
What are you
People
supposed
dress
to
up like
be?"
other streamers for Halloween.
Hey, the kid, ding dong. What are you supposed to be? I'm a Go XLR. Oh no, that's Go XLR. That's a
No.
different product. I'm a Stream
No, they
Deck.
dress up like you. They dress up like CQ. They even copy your hat line.
Yeah. Dress up as a dress up as a capture card. Exactly. Yeah. I'm a Stream Cam.
I'm a stream deck. You push my buttons and I
Yeah.
do cool things.
Boop, 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 boop. All right. Anyway, all right, Radar. Tell the fine folks at home what they can expect throughout the week here at WTF Nation Radio.
Here at WTF Nation, well, you have been listening to Pop Culture Warrior with CQ and Radar. He's CQ, I'm Radar. He's smart, I'm not. Wednesdays, day off. Dawn's a day of no scheduled activities. Tomorrow, happy birthday, Marines. Marine Corps birthday. So tonight, put out your Motrin and your whiskey so Chesty Puller will come visit you and bring you presents. Now, Thursday, Veterans Day, the 11th of November. Okay? But special Veterans Day edition of Soren's Time. With Soren's Time is Ice and Spanky, and then we're bringing you all kinds of big Army, National Guard, Reserve news, all stuff. And it's Veterans Day, so get you free Chili's or Applebee's or Golden Corral or B-Dubs or whatever. Go get you some free lunch because you earned it. You did.
Thank you for your service.
Anyway, yep. Thank you for your cervix. Now, thank me for my service, everybody. Give me some free Applebee's. I just want appetizers. Okay, anyway, after that, Friday, you'll be all fat and happy, full of free Applebee's. Hang out with Friday Night Freedom, Kaz and Pookie. Good show. They're hilarious. Both those guys are awesome. They put on a really good show, good quality content. You need to be there on Friday. And you're going to be too, bloated to do anything else anyway. Sit back, chick back, relax, hang out. Saturday and Sunday, recovery days, Don's the days. More no scheduled activities. It's the weekend, baby. We get a long weekend with Veterans Day and free Applebee's. Yum, 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 yum. Anyway, Monday, the Monday edition. Ice and Mom, maybe me, not sure, whatever. Ice will be there on Monday with another good show, talking all things like new. For comment, like what did we talk about last time? We talked about the Coof, and we talked about AA Ron Rogers and a couple other bullshits. Good show, funny stuff. Be there on Mondays for the Monday edition. Then you come back on Tuesdays to CQ and Radar with Pop Culture Warrior every Tuesday right here at 2000 Eastern.
God bless, man. God bless.
Thank God for my ADD, or I'd never remember all that shit.
Hyperfixation.
If I had that written down, I would remember shit, but my ADD just goes crazy, and I'm like, I get maybe like some free stuff.
The actual King Smith says, ha ha ha, Radar should close out all shows from now on. Bitch,
I do.
If you watched the show to the end, you would know he always closes out the show.
Maybe some of all the other shows too. They're just gonna record me, but it's all ADD. It's my ADD / PTSD brain going crazy, and just I remember half the shit and I forget half the shit, so I make it up halfway as I go along.
Yeah,
it's great.
Loving the Max-a-Lot comment, which is, he goes, yuck, it's the USMC birthday. He goes, when is Mother's Day for the Navy? Because they're I'm gonna change what you said. When is Father's Day for the Navy? Because they're the Marines' daddies. Oh, snap!
You know what? The Marines got to have a ride too. They say the Marine Corps is a department of the Navy, but it's like the men's department.
So hey, big love. Everybody, give a follow. The actual King Smith. He does live shows as well. Check him out. Max-a-Lot. God bless you, brother. Max-a-Lot 11.
Hey, did those
go
guys
check him
get
out.
free PlayStations from Sony?
Those guys? I doubt it.
Yeah. Do they get like free Stream Decks or anything like that?
No. But the actual King Smith did say Elgato hooked him up. He loves their customer service. So,
I don't want. Well, I mean, hopefully nothing breaks where I need customer service, but they could have just I don't know, hooked up with the free Stream Deck. That'd been tight.
That'd be tight.
Like even just like the mini one.
Yeah, things are things. But all right, guys, we have reached the end of another episode of Pop Culture Warrior. I am CQ. He is Radar. We've had a blast. Thank you for checking us out and being part of the show. Keep watching for more exciting, fun stuff. There's going to be more, holidays coming around. We're going to do some prize giveaways. We got some surprise guests coming on here soon. And more awesome stuff and hijinks and hilarity, as always. Love you guys. We'll see you next week. Say bye, Radar.
Bye, Radar.
Shots.
You